Yes.
Welcome to the Not My Plan podcast. I'm host Dave Wow, where we experience God in the unexpected. Today we have my good friend Amanda Howell. Hello, Amanda.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm so glad to have you on here today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
You are welcome. People are in for a treat for those that don't know you.
Let's hope.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Amanda, I have a very
Yes.
serious question for you. Are you ready?
Yes. Ready as I'll ever be.
Amanda, have you ever in your life had anything not go according to plan?
Oh, more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times.
The great news is I think most people can relate to that.
Yep.
If you're
I
breathing, you've had something not go
You've
according
had to
to plan.
pivot. Yep.
So the purpose of this podcast is to encourage others by sharing your story for someone
Mhm.
who has gone through something similar.
Okay.
So, Amanda, tell us in a word, what is your not my plan story?
It involves domestic violence. And you said one word, that's 2 words. But
Okay, that was not my plan. What's your not my plan statement?
my goodness, my not my plan statement is it can happen to you and it's okay. You can recover
Wow.
from it. Yep.
So you were married and then experienced domestic violence. Is that correct?
We weren't married, but we were dating for about 5 years. Yes. And yeah, I became a victim of long-term domestic assault and sexual assault and domestic violence.
Wow, that's heavy. That's a lot. When you say long term, how long was that?
It lasted about 4 years.
4
Started 1
years.
year in.
All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you to that point. Maybe is where you met this guy. But tell us your story.
So we met doing what I always did every Thursday. It was dollar slice night at a local pizza place. And I'd always gone. I was single and I liked sitting there and having dollar slices and watching either golf or baseball or sports, just kind of relaxing. And we started talking and then it kind of started meeting and just getting involved and started talking. We talked for talked, dated, whatever, for maybe 6 months or so. I took care of his kid. I helped him with his business, helped him grow his company. I was working at a school at the time, and we just kind of came together. And it came to where my lease was up and his lease was up, and we moved in together. And from that moment, I could feel a shift, the coming together and really getting absorbed with each other's lives. Maybe the person that I thought I knew wasn't the person that I knew. He was a well known psychologist in town and doing great work. I was doing great work. We were leaders in our community, and behind the closed doors there were some demons that were hiding. There was sex addiction on his part, there was cheating, there was abuse, it started with a verbal and emotional abuse and attack on just my looks, my weight, my energy, my who I was as a person, the things I enjoyed. And it just kind of started as nitpicking. It just kind of, when someone just picks at you and picks at you and picks at you. And then it started with the cheating. And then it started with, because he thinks he got away with the cheating, he could do from there. It escalated to whatever he wanted because he thought, okay, I've done that. Now she's never going to leave. So it slowly escalated into this, and emotional abuse is abuse, regardless of what people say. Emotional abuse is abuse. He got away with that. So then it started escalating to physical stuff of a push, a shove, a spit here and there, to full on breaking of my face. He broke my orbital socket, my nose, my jaw. It took my vision in my right eye for probably 2 months, I want to say. And from there, it just continued until it got to a threshold of throwing me on a bed and assaulting me, and then me being arrested for something I didn't do. And it just kind of, it started tiny and it got bigger. So,
Wow. So for those that know you and see you out and about in town, now no one would ever know that this sweet Amanda ever went through something like this. I think
no,
that's might be surprising for a lot of people. When you met this guy, looking back, were there any warning signs that you
absolutely.
could see? There were. How,
Absolutely.
what might be one or two of those warning signs for someone that's watching this could be like, man, I better pay attention to those.
It was the way he carried himself and the way he spoke. Very vain, very into his appearance and what he looked like, and very judgmental of other people publicly and openly. And kind of just, he had airs about him that just he could do no wrong. And to be a person that was supposed to be offering counseling and therapy to someone on one end, and then to flip and in public, as we're watching sports or whatever, degrade the people sitting next to us or in the same environment based on how they were talking, how they were dressed, what they were doing. Just this constant judgment that was kind of funny at first. You're like, oh, he's just people
Uh,
watching, he's observing, but really he's tearing that person down behind their back. So that was one of the big tells.
okay. While you were in the middle of all this, you said it was about 4 years, right?
4 years.
Did you ever think it won't happen again or it'll get better or what am I doing wrong? Did you ever blame yourself?
Oh, absolutely. It was always if I was pretty enough, if I lost the right amount of weight, if I behaved the way he wanted me to. I gave up my friends. I gave up everything to fit this narrative that he had. And the key was isolation. Get me away from everybody that I loved. Tear down my life to where my life doesn't exist on my own. I'm no longer an individual. I now fit into his life and his world. And that's what happened. I lost my friends. I lost everything trying to fit this narrative that he had. And it's under control. It's a guise of I'm helping you, I'm supporting you, and I'm loving you, and you just think, oh, well, I did something wrong, or I talked to someone I shouldn't have, or I looked the wrong way, or I didn't do the right thing, and he's upset. So you start changing who you are to fit that. And you're like, oh, he's just mad. He won't do it again. He just slapped me today, just that one time. And it's because I looked at somebody or I talked to somebody. And so you forgive it and you move on and you bury it. And then it escalates to you can't hang out with those people. You can't go there. And you're like, okay, maybe he saw something I didn't. Maybe, I'm trying to be respectful of my relationship. And then it turned into consistent behavior of isolation, of emotional abuse, where you're just like, okay, well, I'm not good enough. And I have this person who's out of my league. So let me change who I am to accommodate. And you think, oh, if I stop doing this, maybe he won't hit me today. Maybe he won't scream
Mm.
at me today. Maybe he won't drag me across the floor. And you start to evolve as a person into not a person. You evolve into a shell of a human, just hoping you don't get hit, hoping you don't get degraded, hope you can make them happy at the end of the day so that you're not subject to whatever they have going on in their head.
Wow. Um,
Yeah. Whew.
did people try and help you during this time, or is there anything someone could have done to help you while you're in the middle of that?
Well, I pulled away from everybody. They didn't, some of them knew because they knew I wasn't acting myself. They knew I wasn't the happy me. I wasn't going out. I wasn't being social. I kind of went home and became a recluse. And people reached out, people tried to help, but I never let them in on what was going on. I thought I was covering it up. I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing a really good job. I'm wearing enough makeup," or I am giving a really good story, or I twist things and lie a little bit and say, "Oh, this happened or that happened," trying to cover it up. So people tried, but I just didn't let them in. And I had one really good friend who knew, and she's like, "I know what's happening." And I'm like, "No, you're wrong. You're wrong. It's not happening." And eventually she was like, "Okay, I'm I'm here, but you're not letting me help, so I'm done." And she was always there to support, but she quit trying to pull me out of it. She's like, you're going to do what you're going to do. And I think that's what happens with people too is you have people who see it. They say something and you're just like, no, 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 not me. God, no. Like I was working at a school. He's well known. People are, no, we can't do that. We have to be we have this image and you don't want that to come down. So you pretend that everything's okay and you cover it up and you create stories and lies. So eventually you don't even know anymore. You're just like, I don't even can't keep up with it. And you just kind of become a shell.
Question for you. Looking back, do you wish that that friend had continued to persevere and trying to help you? Or at that point in time, were you like, man, I just needed her to stay out of my business?
At the time, I needed her to stay out of my business, but she never stayed out of it. She would always text me like a weekly good morning text or an uplifting text, never prying on the relationship, just staying at an arm's distance because I think for her, it was a safety thing for her where she's emotionally invested in me. She loved me like a sister, but I was not listening. And so, how much energy and love can you pour into somebody that doesn't wanna get out of it, or they don't know how, you know? So, I think she did the best thing that she could, and to this day, she still checks on me and loves me, and I truly believe she did the right thing by her, and her pulling away, not checking on me was noticed. That back off was like, "Oh, okay, I'm not I'm not doing the right thing," you know?
Right. Right. Did
Yeah.
at this point in time in your life, were you a believer? How did it affect your relationship with God? Were you mad at God? Were you Can you
I was
speak to that?
backslidden. Yeah, I was a believer. I was a very strong believer before this relationship. He was not. And again, this is a second pattern. This is leads to another part of my life. I have a I have a pattern for non-believers. The good Lord, I thought if I was good enough, if I was Christian enough, if I did everything right, he would find the good Lord. Where eventually it came down to I couldn't even go into a church. So I would listen to my sermons from my preacher on Sunday on my phone while I was cooking breakfast, and he would throw my phone and hit my phone or come in and just kind of kick my feet out from underneath me. And it kind of became a point to where I couldn't go to church. If I went to church, my stuff would be on the porch when I got home. And it happened numerous times, even on an Easter Sunday. He threatened that if I went to church and went to an Easter dinner with my friends, my stuff would be on the porch and my animals would be let loose. And it was just a control thing. And it really got bad. And I remember that Easter sitting there going, I can't worship. I can't praise. I couldn't do anything. My Bible got thrown away. And all I did was pray to God. I said, God, what am I doing wrong that I deserve this? Sorry, what, why? Why am I being treated like this? Why am I not allowed to praise you? Why can't I worship? Why can't I just live my life? Why am I being tormented? And the response wasn't one that I wanted. It was because I allowed it. I let myself get to this position and I had to go through it. And it didn't stop there. It lasted for a lot longer. And I remember one night broken, praying, beaten, tired. I was laying on the floor because that's where I had to sleep and kicked me out of the bed a lot. That was a big thing. And I was on the floor praying and the Lord said, hold on, just hold on. He's going to use my pain for good. And I didn't understand that. I couldn't, why am I going through this? Why am I carrying all of this? And eventually, it took a few years. It's because I'm strong enough to go through it so I can help other people. Because I will be in a position of influence where people will respect me and I can be a beacon. I can be that flashlight in darkness. So I remember laying on the floor crying out, why? And the answer was just, it's going to be used for good. And it's like when Jonah's in the whale, he doesn't understand why he's in the whale. The lion's den, all the things that you're up against, David and Goliath. Why am I fighting this big thing? Because you can and you will, and it will be used for God's grace and God's mission and his purpose. And it took a long time for me to understand that. But I do remember crying out. I remember being mad a little bit at God. Like there's ways to teach me lessons. There's ways to use me without having to put me through that. But he didn't put me through it. He saw me through it. He didn't put me in it. He saw me through it. And that's a big difference. I want people to know that it can happen to anybody. It is not a race thing. It's not a socioeconomic thing. It is not a demographic thing. It is not a male female thing. Men are abused just as well as women. The way this works is it tears you down as a person. What you have to do is it's not you. It's not your fault. You did nothing wrong. You don't deserve this, but you can get through it. You can get through it. You can recover from it. And your story has meaning. Someone out there believes you. And that's the problem too, is you get stuck in this thing of no one's going to believe me that this is happening. Someone does believe you and there is help and there is a way out. You can get out and there is so much beauty on the other side. I look back and it's actually the anniversary this week of when all of this happened, one of the worst ones happening to me. You can wake up on the other side of this and say, well, you don't have to live like that anymore. You don't have to be beat down. You don't have to be hurt. You don't have to be hidden. You deserve to be seen, heard, and healed. And it can happen. It's not pretty by any means. It's an ugly conversation that no one wants to have, but it is a real conversation. And there are people in our community like me with resources that can help you, support you, love you, and help you see the other side. It's like opening the blinds. You open them a little bit, you can see a little bit of sun. But once somebody comes and helps you pull up the entire shade, you can actually see what's out there. And you take it day by day and step by step. But don't lose track of your faith. Hold tight to your faith because that's the only reason I got through it. Hold tight to the people that actually love you. And if people are sending you red flags and telling you something is not right, listen. Stop turning away and saying, "Oh, I love them. Oh, I love them." Love doesn't beat. Love doesn't hurt. Love is not jealous. Love does not envy. Love is not boastful. Go back to those verses and think through that. Yes, I currently serve on the board of directors for our domestic violence sexual assault center here in Rutherford County, alongside our executive director, Erica Downing. In that role, I'm able to advocate, support, guide, help, and make decisions that provides support for women to keep it going. We just did our day on the Hill last Wednesday, a week from today. We were on the Hill speaking with our representatives in our House and our Senate and our legislators to get the stories out there to make the change and to get the support from the community and to get the leaders to understand the plight that we're up against and harsher sentences for offenders, rape kits for minors, all the things that are needed. And so I'm able to use my very loud voice from this very small body to advocate for the women who may not feel, or men who may not feel seen, heard, or that they matter. But I'm here to sit with them, walk with them, crawl with them. If we have to crawl before we walk, I will crawl with you. I will lay on the ground with you. I will hold the flashlight because your hands are shaking and it's scary. That's what I'm here to do. And that's what I absolutely live to do. It is my mission. It is my purpose in life to connect these people to the resources and to other people and let them feel seen and heard and healed. Sure. Yeah. I forgave them. No, I don't want him to. I forgave him instantly because as a Christian woman, I'm called to do that because forgiveness is not about them. It's about me. And, you know, I'm a woman that feels whatever was broke inside of him, he decided to put on to me. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs. And I hope that he's out doing his thing. But I forgave him, and I still think about it, like, what people ask me if he was in the room, what would I say to him? I just pray for him. I have nothing to say to him except thank you for helping fuel a fire within me that now allows me to help others. And, Dave, you speak on compassion and grace quite a bit, and practicing compassion and grace and forgiveness is like it is one of the hardest things you will ever do in your life. There are hard things. I think that is the absolute hardest, is to forgive and show compassion and grace and hope that whatever it is that they were fighting, that they fought it and that they heal and that they don't do it to anybody else. So yeah, I forgave him. I have compassion and grace towards him because I don't know. I knew his family. He didn't have any hardships that I was aware of or that anybody else was aware of, but he had some kind of internal demon, and I just happened to be that punching bag for whatever it was. So I forgave him. I've moved on. I have more compassion and grace than I ever thought I could have. And that actually prepared me for later in life, that outside of helping women, but in another bump in my road that was not my plan that we could talk about later. But that prepared me for what I was going to go through because the good Lord knew my map. He knew my roadmap. He knew my path. But it's made me a better mother. It's made me a better business owner. It's made me a better community leader because I can look at things from a different lens of forgiveness, grace, compassion. Everybody deserves it. And how do you apply that? And I learned that from him. So he gave me that gift. If he gave me anything, it was that gift. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. The verse that still gets me through this day is Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That just it's in my office, it's everywhere for me because we are broken and that's okay. Some of the most beautiful things are broken, but he's there with us in our crushed spirits and he's there to see us through it. So he's always there. As broken as you feel, you're not broken to him. He loves you. He's there to hold you up. My prayer request would be for people to look around, talk to the people next to them. It's a 1 in 4 people have experienced abuse of some kind. And I want them to pray for the groups that you're in, pray for the people you're around, because you have no idea who's affected. It could be your hairdresser. It could be your preacher. It could be your preacher's wife. It could be your golf buddy. It could be your employee. So pray that you're able to catch the signs. Pray that people are able to come forward, because once you come forward, it is very hard to do. I'm going to tell you. Because once you do, you're seen. Your secret's out. Your ugly is showing, and it hurts because you have to every time I talk about it, you're back in that space. You're reliving that trauma. So pray for those people that do come forward to find peace, healing, and pray for them to be able to practice compassion, grace, and forgiveness, because that's the only way they're going to heal. If they hold on to it, the bitterness and revenge and all of that will eat them alive, and it will take away whatever spark they had in them. So just pray for survivors that are walking the walk. Pray for those that don't know that they're in it. Pray for those who are supporting them. Pray for our leaders that they can make the right decision to stop this. Pray for our community directors and people that are there to help others because they carry a heavy burden. So yeah, just all around prayer for our community and for people involved and the people that support. Some do and some don't. And that's what's sad is the funding issue, which goes back to government and grants and those types of things. But call your local law enforcement. See if you look up if you have a domestic violence sexual assault center. A lot of places don't. A lot of places do, a lot of places don't. But reach out to your law enforcement, reach out to your hospitals, reach out to your churches, school systems. A lot of times they have resources that you may not know exist. It may not be publicly talked about, but it's tucked away on a shelf, which is really sad to say. But that's what happened with me. Like it's some, I didn't even know it existed, but the sheriff's office had to tell me about it. So contact somebody like that in law enforcement or someone you feel close to and confide in them so that we can find some resources because there are so many places that don't have it. But there are places like Rutherford County. We have 380,000 people, but people still don't know about our domestic violence sexual assault center here. So if you contact our law enforcement, they're going to guide you and help you get there. And that is their oath. That is what they should be doing. You know, just get some help and talk to your local government, talk to your local resources. There is help for you um, to get involved or to get help either way.